I'm Saskia Jennings. I was born in the Netherlands, and 13 years ago and 1 week, I moved to Canada. I had fallen in love with a nice gentleman here. And when I moved from Holland, I did not move to Toronto, the big city, or Vancouver. I actually started living very rural, 3 hours north of Toronto, 15 kilometers off the highway in the bush, forest. Some people understand that better. So when I landed there, I thought like, okay, so now what? What am I going to do? Because I was starting to do, I got to do paperwork for immigration, etc. So what I did was that I always wanted to be in healthcare. When I left Holland, I had studied Reiki, reflexology, and I thought, well, whatever. So I saw an ad for 6 months training for personal support workers, so PSW. And I thought, whoa, that's exactly within the visa. The visa was always 6 months valid. So let's just go for that and I'll do it. Well, it was like another 3 hours up north. So I stayed there throughout the week. I did 6 months. It was amazing. And then I started working in the area where I lived, and I started working in an assisted living facility, which was really great. Everybody had their own apartment. So I became a PSW there, did different shifts. Then I also started entering their outreach program. So I started driving through town, and then the bigger outreach program, which would take me an hour to get to my first client driving through the bush, etc. So I did that for 5 years up north. Up north means in Ontario. Then I became a coach through my own journey. And then a few years ago, I had moved to the city about 5 years ago. The city is a city of Toronto, very hectic here. It's not really my place to be, but anyways, I'm still here. And just to keep a routine, I did still home care as a PSW for a few years. And I added the coaching until I had this major aha moment where I thought, these caregivers, the family caregivers, they have such a challenge. They're like, there's so much drama in it. And I couldn't see that. I'm like Miss Positive or the Queen of Positivity. And I felt like, but there's so many options. Oh, you actually don't know about it. There's so many things that you can do for your personal development to be the amazing caregiver and have an amazing journey and feel great about it. Don't feel undervalued. And so that was a lot that I dealt with. And then I changed my business. And so now I took the program with Denise Brown, caregiving.com. I'm a certified caregiving consultant and educator. I love speaking for audiences and really, really supporting the caregivers. For me, it's about you as the caregiver. What the heck is going on in your life? And what does your life look like? How do you want it to look like? Because most caregivers, as you probably know, Rachel, they think that they have to put their life on hold. And it will take a few years, and then everything is back to normal, which we all know. So you're shaking your head, no, right? Yeah. So, that's my short version of the story. Due to the training that I took with Denise to become the certified caregiving consultant, I had some extra ahas and insights that I hadn't really realized. So when I moved to Canada 13 years ago, in 2004, my dad developed dementia. And I wrote an article, Dementia on the Fast Track. It went so fast that in March 2005, he became so violent. He was still at home. He became so violent that my mom said, I'm done, take him out. Within 48 hours, he was placed in a nursing home. That was March 31st, and I would move May 5th, 2005 to Canada. So everything got a little bit back to normal. It was later in April, about the 18th or something, I went for a short trip to Barcelona, and I took my mom with me. We were called back home, and a few days later, my dad died. 2 weeks before I would leave. we had to make major decisions, and I never saw myself as the caregiver for my dad, but actually through the training, the conclusion was I was actually the caregiver for my mom, who was a caregiver for my dad. I had never looked at it that way. And that was like, wow, I was, because we kept my mom on track. We supported her mostly through the phone. I lived further away, but I never realized that. And so somebody said to me, it's now 2018, so you're a caregiver for your mom for 14 years. And I'm like, oh, really? Whoa. I actually say that I'm, according to the stages, I'm an expectant caregiver because my mom is still alive. She is very independent. She's 86. I visited her a year ago. We don't see each other too much. Yesterday on Skype on Mother's Day, that was it. She's still on her own, and my sister lives close by, and I live like 5,000 or 7,000 kilometers away. But that was big aha moments, which helps me to teach the caregivers, right? The other person I cared for when I was married in Canada, I never saw myself as a caregiver, but my husband's mom lived in the forest independently and was in her 90s. And I would pick up groceries, dropped it off. If she would go to the doctor, there was some point she couldn't drive anymore. We would take her, or she had a surgery. I never saw myself as a caregiver. Yes, I was. And so I actually accompanied her in her final stages and made sure that she was comfortable. So those are my private family experiences. 5 years ago, I got to meet Peter, and I took on Peter. I go with him on vacations to a cottage. That's when I live in with him, because his daughter said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to shower my dad, right? We hire somebody. And that's what I so admired in this family. They realized that their dad should have the independence with somebody with them. So I'm still with him. We're not going to the cottage anymore this year. He's almost 97. And it's fantastic. And he lives in the Veterans Center in Canada. So I go twice a week, and yes, I'm a caregiver. And then their best family's friends for 30 years says, listen, Saskia, my caregiver of 5 years has left after my dad just passed the end of January, and I knew the family. Can you please live with my mom? And I'm like, I'm really not sure, right? But the mom is independent, and they're in the transition to get a new caregiver. So here I am. And I do the cooking, and I supervise the shower. I do the laundry. And I said, come on, we'll get in the car. Let's go out. So I'm still a caregiver. How does my day as a caregiver look like? So with the realization that my mom is further away, and my mom does not expect me totally to do anything when things go worse. Last year when I went to visit, I said, I know there is some kind of a will. Dad has died so many years ago. Maybe I suggest you review it. I know my mom has set up funeral arrangements like 2 decades ago. And everything is quite simple, but we haven't done the things or the advanced care planning yet. She never really got back to me, and I'm not sure if my sister knows what to do or wants to take it on. So when I had that realization a few weeks ago, I thought, I'm going to talk to my mom, because what I've learned when I am in Canada now is that you have the living will. I was never really aware of it. But when I live here and I work so much with the seniors and the families and resources, I realize that living will is so important, because, and then there is I didn't know this. So this is important for anybody who listens, can learn from this. There's 2 parts. There is the medical power of attorney, which I think is extremely important. I actually get goosebumps because it's overlooked. And then there is the assets power of attorney, which often is arranged for, like the legal financial, but not like the medical ones. And it's so important. I've done some seminars on that I attended, and I thought, whoa. So I wanted to bring it up yesterday when my sister and my mom and I Skyped for Mother's Day, and I thought, nah, it's not the time. But I will call my mom within the next 2 weeks and ask her, because I looked it up, is that available in Holland? And it is. So I will ask my mom to look into it, to have my sister print it, and I want the two of them really to go for it. Healthcare system in Holland has tremendously changed. My mom's motto was always, you don't have to take care of me, the government's going to take care of me, and I'm not going to live with you. She does not want to live with us because we have our own lives. She's always been like that, very independent, her, my dad, and us as children. However, the government has changed so much that my mom and my sister are joking, and my mom says to my sister, I think she should really build that granny suite for me now, right? Or whatever. There's room enough in my sister's home, but it's ultimately not what my mom wants. So I kind of like stay away from it, but I want to support them in, you have to take action. If mom's brain starts to deteriorate, then we're too late to get a proper signature on medical attorney. And I know what my mom's wishes are, and I think it was a living will, but it hasn't been updated. So yeah, that's something that I think is very important. How does my day look like now? I do my own thing. I set the breakfast table, but my lady friend makes her own breakfast. I get the papers from outside. I keep the house tidy, although there's a house cleaner, but I make sure that the bathroom is tidy. I set the shower ready for when it's her shower day, or whenever she wants to have a shower, because it's all up to her. She's independent, and that, to me, that's so important. The big thing that I do is that I cook. And we just eat delicious meals, and we eat together with dinner. And I still do my work. So when I'm a few days a week, I'm not in the mornings up until like 2 o'clock. And then she has somebody else who keeps her company and makes her lunch. Yeah, so that's pretty easy. But recently, I'll share it, not too detailed, but we have an alarm system in the house, and she didn't take it into the bathroom. So I'm in the kitchen, and all of a sudden I think, like, what's that? Do I hear something? And I thought, oh, it's her calling. So I walked into the bathroom. She says, like, oh, you better put a pin up in your nose. Things went wrong. And I realized she didn't take the button because she's not wearing it around her neck, but she didn't take it into the bathroom. She couldn't call me. So those are lessons that you have to keep encouraging people to use safety precautions and procedures. Yeah, and for the rest, no, it's an amazing journey. What do I find most rewarding? Well, I definitely wasn't in the caregiving world if it wasn't everything that I find rewarding. What I find is most rewarding, and I realize more and more, is when I see a caregiver having those aha moments or feel good about what they do for their carees, the person that they care for. So was this, for me, in 12 years in the home care service industry, in the caregiving service industry, keeping people independent made me very, very different from a lot of people, especially comparing to caregivers in the city here. I'm extremely good in communicating and interpersonal skills and safety and independence and maintaining your dignity, no matter if they have Alzheimer's or dementia, whatever it is. Most rewarding, what I find, is that we have fun, and that my smile and energy that I bring makes a person's day. even if I spend just half an hour with them, just the bonding and the gratitude that they have for somebody who understands them and takes the time to listen and doesn't say like, oh gosh, I need to go, I don't have time. Never. People cannot read in my eyes that I'm running 15 minutes late. It is what it is. If it's private or if it's for work, professional, that's actually really rewarding. Yeah. And I did a lot of fun stuff and people just laugh and great. Yeah. Since I am also very strong to handle things, what's been most challenging is when, I'm not sure if I should talk about it in this interview, but yeah, maybe I should bring it up. So in my professional work, it did not happen very often. It may have happened in 12 years, 2 or 3 times, but being asked to step out of my boundaries and doing things that are unethical. I don't want to say it was more a hurdle for the client than for me, because I would step back and would say, excuse me, that's not what I do as a caregiver. And then I would always be abused verbally, because it was like, oh, what the heck are you doing here? And the others do it all. And I said, well, honestly, that's why communication is so important. And yes, when you deal with people with dementia and Alzheimer's, I know they say things to you, but you have no clue what to do with it. It's challenging when people grab your arm. If it's I wasn't close to my dad because I didn't live close. That's what I meant. So I didn't have the experience that he would push me in a corner and hold me there. My mom did. But those are things that they happen. And another thing that's very challenging is the incontinence. Incontinence is, I know in the States there's been research, is one of the biggest stressors for people. And it's how do I handle that? And it is a huge challenge. And I can handle it because I step away from it, not literally, but with my mind, I step away from it, put a mask on or put some essential oil under my nose and do what I have to do. But if that's not your routine, then you have to give yourself a routine, but not in front of that person. Go crazy and nuts and spread it to all your family. What happened and how it happened. And you don't do that. In my opinion, you have to value the person. The person has no clue what's happening, has no control. Step away from it, right? Stand in your own value. Understand the values of your parent. Like, yeah. So, I've definitely had those challenges. I had it recently, but it's okay. I've learned how to deal with it. So learn how to deal with it. Find your way to do the best, both be safe, both be happy afterwards, 20 minutes later, right? So, yeah. Yeah, so with my mom, I didn't do a lot with the resources. My mom, what I really appreciate with my mom, and this is a great tip for everybody, is from the moment it started with my dad, she reached out to a social worker and she suggested my mom would go to a support group, not a group where everybody whines, etc. and there's only tears and drama, but you share your story, you ask your questions. And my mom actually loved helping others with her experiences. I mean, like she was a teacher, not like a nurturer. So a support group was great for my mom. The social worker was the best help ever at the end, because my mom called her and says, I'm done, take him away from me. That was the only thing she said. And the social worker knew exactly the situation. And I don't know how it's in Canada, but I don't think that resource is used well enough. Also, because of the many careers that are coming in the seniors, it's exploding, right? It becomes more challenging for social workers, but definitely go and see the Alzheimer's group if that's needed, although a lot of it is focused on Alzheimer's, but it's only an little small percentage of the population. Go to the library, read a book on it. I know my mom went to the library and started reading books on it. But my mom was always like looking forward, what can I learn? Not like, what's the drama? What can I learn? The biggest thing, if you want to know what's available, go on caregiving.com, right? It's blogs, it's articles, it's videos, it's learning. What Denise has created, 25 years of experience and insights, so valuable. You can find everything. You can join the chat. The chat rooms are popular. Self-care for me is much more than going to the movies or to a massage. That's a part of the fun, although I love doing more deeper work. So I do have a shiatsu treatment or something because I really like to work on deep levels, blockages and energy work. And that's what I usually teach too. It's more advanced self-care. And that starts with yourself. Who are you? Value yourself. Because especially for women, it's a very big thing. We always care for others and not for ourselves. The Heart Truth campaign with the Heart and Stroke Foundation in 2014 in Canada literally said the number one killer of women is a heart attack or stroke, because we never take care of ourselves. We never have. And that's a very strong message, and it's true. So I would say self-development. Get a coach. Get a certified caregiving consultant, because we look after you, right? As the caregiver, and help you to find whatever it is that you need and help you find the answers. And I think having a person who's holding your hand and is there for you when you need them is extremely important. That is the neutral person that helps you to find more balance, to value your own life and not get sucked in to what everybody else wants you to do. Because caregiving has a big effect on family dynamics and relationships. So self-care is important. Yeah. I did a workshop 10 days ago, and a lady walks up to me afterwards and says, my parents are very healthy, but I'm so concerned about what's coming up, right? I want them to get help. I want them to get a cleaner. So I think the question could be for the caregiver, because everything that we think that they may need help with, we don't know if that's the truth. It is a thought if it is not being a doctor's prescription or whatever, right? So if you're more in the thought process, it is your thoughts. If you haven't talked to your parents about what you've noticed, but definitely, so something comes up, have a logbook. If you feel that during visits you start noticing things, have a logbook, either visible or either invisible. If you have family members, talk to your family members and see what they see. So that's what I do with my sister. When I came last year, I said, so what about mom, right? What stage is she in? Oh, well, she's not going on her bike anymore. In Dutch, in Holland, we always bike, right? She can't walk that far anymore. I'll tell you what, that was not the truth. That was what my sister thought, because my mom hadn't really been walking up to her. What did my mom do? She says, hey, Saskia, it's a great day. Let's go for a walk. So we go across the street, go to a park. At the first left turn, I said, oh, do you want to go in here? She looks at me, she said, what do you mean? We just left the house 7 minutes ago, right? We're not done. We're just starting. She took me on a 90-minute walk. She was faster than I was. And I said to my sister, I don't know what you meant. If mom is not walking that much anymore, I think she walks so like crazy. So it is important that we start noticing, start logging, and not make assumptions. Talk about things with your mom and dad, and if they say like you don't want help, then maybe now I can say as a caregiving consultant, ask ask yourself like, what would I need help with that frees up some time to spend with my parents? So maybe you're the one who gets a house cleaner for 2 hours a week or 2 hours per 2 week. You got 2 hours freed up. You could have some quality time with your parents. So yeah, I have a very bold presentation that I have done for years for caregivers. And one of the things that I teach is that what makes people anxious is OPC. OPC is other people's crap rules. So it's very important to walk your own journey. And people always laugh, and then I see those eyes going wide open, because it's always like when you want to share something with somebody, they have a better story because their neighbor, their mom, their dad, their aunt, their uncle, their nephew, their neighbor's brother, sister. It is not important. Every journey is extremely personal, and that's what caregivers have to realize. So do your own journey that feels good for you. Reach out for the help that you can get. But OPC, no way. And it's okay to say no.